Okay, hello everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order. And before we get to our agenda, I would like to welcome everybody to the new school year. But in particular, I'd like to welcome our two new student trustees, Cole Foster and Ruby Rivington. They're with us tonight for their first official board meeting, so welcome. And we'll be hearing more from them later. And although the superintendents aren't here, I would also like to make note that we do have two new members of our senior team. We have Michelle Moore and Mike Castellano. I don't know if trustees have met them yet, but I'm sure you will soon. Yeah. Okay. And with that, I would like to call on Trustee McCowie to do the acknowledgement of traditional lands and water, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We acknowledge that we are on land and surrounded by water originally inhabited by indigenous peoples who have traveled this area since time immemorial. This territory is within the lands honored by the Wampum Treaties, agreements between the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Lenni Lenape, and allied nations to peacefully share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Specifically, we would like to acknowledge the presence of the Huron-Wendat peoples in the Three Fires Confederacy, Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture while remaining committed to moving forward respectfully with all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis.
Thank you very much. For attendance tonight, we will all be here, but Trustee Armstrong did contact me a little while ago when the severe weather warning was issued because she was concerned about her travel from Leamington. So I told her to not rush, that she'll get here when she gets here. So she's making her way here. And I just wanted to share that with trustees. So when she does arrive, we will have full attendance. Okay, thank you. And unfortunately, before we go to approval of the agenda, we do have special orders of the day. And I would ask everyone to please stand.
With deep sorrow and immense gratitude, we remember Stephen Scott, a beloved teacher, mentor, husband, father, and friend. For 25 years, Stephen inspired students with his warmth, his wit, and unwavering belief in their potential, most recently at North Star High School. His classroom was a haven for acceptance and for encouragement. Stephen's creativity shone in school plays. His dedication uplifted young athletes on the court and on the field. He faced a 12-year battle with cancer with quiet courage and grace, never letting it dim his spirit. Above all, Stephen cherished his family, his wife Sonia, and sons Owen and Evan, who were his greatest joy. He will be remembered for his humor, compassion, and the way that he made everybody feel seen and valued. His legacy lives on in the lives he touched. His absence leaves a space that cannot be filled, but his spirit remains in every life that he has touched. Stephen showed us how to live life with purpose, and how to love without condition, and how to face life's hardest battles, always with a smile. He was, and always will be, a guiding star. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. With heavy hearts, we mourn the loss of our coworker and our amazing friend, David DeAndrea. David joined the board in 2013 and quickly became known as one of the most dedicated and compassionate staff members you could ever hope to work with. His quiet strength and thoughtful presence made a lasting impact on everyone around him. Though soft-spoken, Dave was always encouraged and engaged in conversations during breaks, bringing warmth and kindness to every single interaction. He had a remarkable ability to make others feel seen and supported, always ready to lend a helping hand and offer an encouraging word when it was needed the most. His positivity was truly an inspiration to us all, and he will be missed tremendously at Tecumseh Vista Academy. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Houston, and on behalf of all the trustees, our sincere sympathy to the Scott and DeAndrea families. Thank you very much. Now I'm looking to the trustees for a motion for the approval of the agenda. Trustee Buckler, Trustee Nelson, all those in support? It's carried. Thank you. Do we have any declarations of conflict of interest for this meeting? Seeing none. I now require a motion to convene into special committee of the whole closed session. Trustee Cook, Trustee McCowie, all those in support? That's carried. Thank you very much. And just for those who are here and for viewing the meeting, we will probably be in closed session for about an hour, and then we will reconvene our meeting. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to call the meeting back to order, and I will just point out that Trustee Armstrong is here with us. I'm glad you got here safely. Thank you. And although our two new SOs weren't here at the beginning of the meeting, welcome now to Michelle and Mike, their first board meeting. So glad to have you aboard. And I'll just let the trustees know that I did have a chance to meet with them and do a little informal orientation about our board. So welcome. And with that, we go back to our approved agenda. We're at item H, rise and report from the special committee of the whole meeting. And for that, we go to Trustee Buckler.
Yes, I'd like to move item H, property. Seconded by Trustee McCallie. Move all in support. It's done. And then I'd like to move I, audit. Moved by Trustee Hatfield and seconded by Trustee Cook. All in support. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a number of sets of minutes. Approval of the minutes. Could I have 1 to 5, or is there some reason to separate? No. Trustee McCallie, Trustee Cook, anything on the minutes? Okay, all those in support. Oh, you have a question, Trustee Chin?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. My question is on page 2. In the minutes, we said the 25 to 26 budget reflects the board's commitment to the following priorities. The first is Indigenous education. And in my memory, I don't think we have this as the first priority, and based on our consulting, and I don't know why we put this up to the first now in the minutes.
In the minutes, they aren't in any particular order. It's just a listing of our priorities. It doesn't say first, second, third. It's just a listing of priorities. That was from the presentation of the budget.
It's just weird, and yeah. Okay.
Well, it is what it is. That's what happened. Priorities were listed.
But when we have that budget report, we do have a priority list, and I remember the first is student mental health. And the second is literacy and numeracy.
Okay. Trustee Chin, again, I'll say that they aren't in any list of priority. It's just a list of priorities that were stated in the staff report on the budget.
I don't think it makes sense. If we list something and
so do you think that the minutes are inaccurate as to what was stated?
Yeah, I think it's inaccurate because previously we didn't.
No, inaccurate to what was presented. Do you have evidence of that? You have evidence that the minutes are inaccurate?
From my memory, I never thought that this should be the first in the priority.
It's not. I didn't say it was. I'm trying to explain to you that this is just a list.
I need some explanation since from the consultation and from that budget report, and it didn't really, be on the list of the priorities. But why you put this first now?
I don't have any other answer for you.
I want to know something about
Superintendent Armstrong.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, I don't want to confuse this with the budget survey that was sent out to the community. So I just want to clarify that. And these are not ranked priorities, but they are the focus of priorities for the budget. They're just not ranked in any particular order.
Trustee McKinley?
Just to note also that they are also relative to our own board plan, our strategic plan. These are items that we care about in this strategic plan as well. So that's why they're part of this.
Correct, but we're discussing the accuracy of the minutes. So all those in support of the minutes as presented, are there any opposed? One opposed. Thank you. Minutes are carried. Item J, well, again, welcome to our new student trustees. They're going to be presenting 2 reports, one for the month of September and one for October. Okay?
Good evening, trustees, Director Houston, senior administration, and members of the public. Cole and I are grateful to all of you as you've assisted us with our transition into our roles, and we would like to specifically thank Director Houston for making time to meet with us late this August and helping support our concepts of initiatives and goals for the year. August was a very busy start to our term as we kicked off the year by participating in the Windsor-Essex Pride Parade with a handful of our student senators. We made custom Pride bookmarks and handed them out to families along with candy. We were so happy to support the community and celebrate Windsor-Essex Pride Fest. Later in August, we hosted our first Student Senate meeting here at the board office, where our senators had the opportunity to break the ice and set their goals for the year. We led them in activities where they reflected on their school's individual needs from a student perspective to prepare them for their first year as student leaders. Not their first year, just their year as student leaders. Additionally, we implemented a new section of our monthly meetings, professional development workshops, where we prepare a presentation and discussion aimed to develop specific leadership skills. Our September workshop focused on networking and collaboration skills. We also kicked off our Student Leadership Conference Planning Committee, and the event has been shaping up as our senators share their ideas for scheduling, activities, and speakers at our regular committee meetings. I've had several opportunities to go on school visits in the first few months of the term. I visited North Star High School for their grade 9 orientation, then Erie Migration District School, W.F. Herman Academy, and Tecumseh Vista Academy for their grade 9 days. Supporting incoming grade 9 students with their transition, witnessing school spirit across the board, and speaking to students to promote school involvement has been an amazing experience that I'm lucky to have had. I'm also happy to share that over the summer, the Ontario Student Trustees Association completed their selection process for the public cabinet, and I've been selected as the Vice Chair Associate. This role enables me to connect directly with OPSPA and develop conference sessions and remote initiatives for public student trustees across Ontario. In conclusion, August and September were very productive months for Cole and I would love to emphasize again my thanks to Director Houston and Michelle Marcus for their assistance and support in our transition into our roles.
Thank you very much. And Cole?
I have the Student of the Month, too.
No, go ahead.
The Student of the Month for September is Anu Chan, a grade 11 student at Vincent Massey Secondary School. Anu is an outstanding role model for September's theme of athletics. Anu began training for track and field at the age of 7, and since then, her hard work and commitment have led her to win many titles. The support of her coaches and teammates at the Windsor Legion Track and Field Club and at Vincent Massey pushed her to do better at every practice and competition. Anu has broken a number of records so far and hopes to continue that streak. Some of the junior girls' records she has broken include the OFSA 800 meter, the WEXA 800 meter, and the WEXA 1500 meter. Anu's most rewarding record-breaking run with Windsor Legion was the Ontario U17 800 meter. Her record-breaking times are particularly impressive as some of the records were set before she was born. Anu's leadership and success have inspired young athletes at Massey and around the province. She has been awarded 2 Massey MVP plaques in cross country and track and field, as well as Massey's Most Outstanding Junior Female Athlete Award. Anu is expected to continue smashing records while Massey students cheer her on as she races toward becoming one of Canada's top track athletes. Congratulations, Anu, on being selected by Student Senate as the September Student of the Month for athletics.
You want to come up front, please? Congratulations from all the trustees. Thank you. And next.
Good evening, trustees, Director Houston, senior administration, and members of the public. October Student Senate meeting took place at Essex District High School. The professional development workshop this month was on the topic of public speaking, as we wanted to help hone our senators' skills in one of what is, in my opinion, the most important leadership aspects. Senators were given the opportunity to apply to give a brief talk about leadership at our upcoming Student Leadership Conference. So that's why we decided to place this now. It's the opportunity to speak in front of a large group, which is not an opportunity that comes to high school students often. So we decided to prepare them now. Also at the meeting, senators took part in short debates on leadership topics and current events to practice their public speaking skills in front of their peers. We try to give senators as much opportunity as possible to share their opinions and learn from others. We capped off this meeting by naming Sandwich Secondary student Gwen Flanagan as our October Senator of the Month. Gwen is the chair of the Mental Health Committee for this year, and last month she coordinated the Race for Resilience to raise over $4,200 for the Canadian Mental Health Association. We are lucky to have Gwen chair the Mental Health Committee this year, and we are also happy to name her October's Senator of the Month. The Mental Health Committee has set several goals for the year, including the support for secondary schools to implement a JAC.org chapter or a mental health club, increasing our public communications via Instagram, and creating a student mental health newsletter. As we approach our annual Student Leadership Conference, we wanted to create a moment that brings together our secondary schools in unity and reflection. Each school was given a section of the board's land acknowledgement to read, and we will bring these voices together into a video, which will be presented at the start of the conference. This collaboration symbolizes our respect for the land we gather on and for one another as we travel, learn, and lead. We hope it sets a tone of unity, respect, and shared purpose to our Student Leadership Conference this year. We've also had requests from senators who want to commemorate their experience on Student Senate, so we opened up designs for submissions to Senate merchandise. We received plenty of creative ideas from senators and member of student councils from around our schools, and senators are currently reviewing and voting on which design we're going to use. The first 3 months of our term are just the start of what we hope to accomplish this year as we look to develop our leadership skills and chase the goals we hope to reach. We appreciate the support of Director Houston as we transition into our roles, and we look forward to working with the board and senior administration going forward. Thank you. So our Student of the Month for October is Matthew Dawson, grade 11 International Baccalaureate student at Riverside Secondary School. Matthew's curiosity, discipline, and academic excellence make him an outstanding role model for October's theme of passion for learning. Matthew maintains an outstanding 95% average in a demanding high school program with balance, focus, and perseverance. The IB Diploma program requires students to meet rigorous academic expectations through research, inquiry, and critical thinking, which are areas Matthew excels in. Matthew has constantly been on Riverside's honor roll, earning the prestigious honors with distinction, which is acknowledged at Riverside's annual Night of Excellence. Matthew is a dedicated member of Riverside's Science Olympiad team and a participant in the Pascal and Fermat mathematics contests, where he applies his knowledge and skills in competitive settings. A talented pianist since the age of 4, Matthew's talent and creativity shines through in every performance. Matthew has a passion for languages, as he has also earned the DELF B2 French certification, demonstrating fluency at an advanced level. He also studies Spanish and Italian independently to further his global citizenship. He approaches every challenge with humility, curiosity, and a drive for excellence. Matthew's engagement in Riverside's academic and extracurricular activities and his genuine love of learning are an inspiration to his peers and teachers alike. Congratulations, Matthew, for being selected by Student Senate as the October Senate Student of the Month for passion for learning.
Congratulations, Matthew, on behalf of all the trustees. Thank you for coming tonight. Okay. Before I do the chair's report, just give me 1 second to reach down to get my cushion. Sorry. Okay. That's better. Okay, that's much better. Okay. So moving on to item K is the chair's report. Since our last regular meeting in June, it seems I've had to attend an unusually high number of meetings about a variety of topics and initiatives, including reaching out to the OPSPA president and executive director on several occasions regarding emerging issues. It's kind of not usual over the summer. Public education in Ontario is facing uncertain times, with the possibility of public school board trustees being eliminated in the near future. Ironically, this is Local Government Week, an initiative of the Association of Municipalities of Ontario to take time to recognize the vital role of local municipal governments as well as school board trustees. OPSPA, which is our provincial association, has been heavily promoting this initiative. I know that some of our trustees have arranged visits to schools this week to share information about the important role of school board trustees, which I think is a valuable learning experience for students. Now, if I may, I'd like to take a personal pause from my formal chair's report to share some information about myself as a trustee. Just bear with me. Coincidentally, today is my father's 97th birthday. I'm not looking for presents or anything, but about a week ago, my family started helping him with the process of moving from his own home to a retirement home. So in this process, some items were recently uncovered that my parents had kept for decades. And one such item was the pamphlet I used the first time I ran for the position of trustee. This is it. On regular paper, because I couldn't afford anything else. This is the actual pamphlet. And my family took great delight in saying, oh, look what we found. I think this was 44 years ago. The picture of my son, he's about 4 years old, and my daughter wasn't even born. Okay. And at the time, there was a field of 16 candidates, and I was a runner-up. But I bring this up because of what is printed in this first pamphlet of mine, and it remained constant in later campaigns for my eventual election and re-elections. And what it says right here, Gail is concerned about providing programs that are responsive to the needs of the students in the community, developing budgets that are realistic, protecting the autonomy of our local school board, and improving communication between trustees and the public. That message has stayed with me. It's part of who I am as a trustee, even more than 30 years after being first elected. I know that I'm not alone, and most trustees feel the same, but it was a little bit ironic to see it again in writing. I think our school board has come a long way in addressing these concerns that I had 44 years ago. We've come a long way over the past years, and I'm very proud to have been a part of the success. But there is still more that can be achieved with the support of provincial government. Speaking of which, I'm aware that our trustees were invited to meet individually with MPP Andrew Dowie. I met with MPP Dowie several weeks ago. during which I had the opportunity to speak about the important role of local school boards, as well as other issues facing school boards in the current climate. Subsequently, I was invited to meet with Liberal education critic, MPP John Fraser from Ottawa, and we used the time to discuss local concerns, many of which are held in common with other school boards. MPP Fraser has been meeting personally with many school board chairs from all the way up from Thunder Bay all the way down to Windsor to gain a better informed perspective on challenges in public education. On October 3rd, OPSPA provided a professional development opportunity for member chairs and vice chairs. There were guest presenters on a number of important topics, particularly relating to emerging issues. But there was a common theme of achieving best practices and good governance, starting with the need for boards to have chairs with a broad range of experience and expertise. Sheila McKinnon and Aaron Kelly were both presenters, and I often had the opportunity to add remarks about best practices from our own board. So I'm going to end my report here with best wishes for the new school year ahead. Our focus is and will always remain on student and staff success and well-being. And that ends my report. Okay, moving on to the director's report. The director will have a lovely PowerPoint. Not like my little pamphlet.
Wow. Wait till you see. So, good evening, everybody. This year, we've introduced a revised format for the director's report, and it'll now be shared both in person at each board meeting and on our website under news and events. In addition to celebrating recent achievements, the report will include updates on significant upcoming events, ministry news, and school-level initiatives. My goal is for it to serve not only as a record of what has taken place, but also a forward-looking resource for trustees and our broader community. The report will also be shared with all staff in our weekly system communications, and I look forward to sharing this new format in the months ahead, which we will now be calling it Inside Education. So it's not a PowerPoint anymore. So it's been a busy and a productive start to our school year. I'm deeply proud of our staff and our students for the dedication that they've shown in preparing for the months ahead and for the many accomplishments already achieved just within the first few months of school. In my back to school message, I emphasized the importance of unity, and it was so wonderful to hear the Student Senate also having the message of unity and the importance within Greater Essex County District School Board. And I remain firmly committed to this principle and to demonstrating it in practice each and every single day. I want to start off by welcoming Ruby Rivington and Cole Foster. Ruby is a grade 12 student at Walkerville Collegiate Institute and has been elected to represent the board's city school population. And Cole Foster is a grade 11 student from Essex District High School, and he's been elected to represent the board's county school population. Welcome to both Ruby and Cole, and you can see that just 6 weeks in, they've already been extremely, extremely busy. Without even having started their role, they were already starting to plan, so thank you for all the great work you're already doing. School additions have opened up at Northwood and Queen Elizabeth, providing an additional 184 pupil spaces at Northwood and 78 pupil spaces at Queen Elizabeth. Students and staff are pleased to have the additional space to learn and work, and thank you to our Facility Services Department for their hard work in making these additions possible and having them open and ready as we started school. And the Ontario government has also approved further funding for additions projects at both Glenwood Public School and Roseland Public School. We were grateful to receive a generous donation of school supplies from many community partners this year, and it's always touching to know that those working in our community also think of our students' needs as they return to the classrooms. Their generosity makes learning easier and more accessible for everyone. On September 22nd, the Every Child Matters flag was raised at all of our district sites. At the administrative office, we held our meaningful ceremony, joined by honored guests from our Indigenous community. We were deeply grateful for their presence and for their words, which highlighted the real-life experiences of those whose lives have been impacted and have been forever changed by the residential school system. We must embed truth and reconciliation into our daily lives through how we teach, how we learn, and how we engage with Indigenous colleagues, peers, and community partners. Our schools also hosted flag-raising ceremonies and took part in activities that enhanced their learning about truth and reconciliation in Canada. We have been in close communication with the City of Windsor regarding concerns around the buses to Massey and Riverside Secondary School, and all of the feedback that we've received from our students and our families, which has been a considerable amount of feedback, has been provided to City Council, and we will continue to monitor and share our concerns with them. High schools across our board are thrilled to open their doors for information nights and open houses, giving students and their parents or guardian an opportunity to explore the vibrant programs, extracurricular activities, and specialized courses that they offer. It's interesting that we just started school and we're already starting to plan our grade 8 to grade 9 for next year. That's just how quick the school year goes by. And all of our families can visit publicboard.ca/grade 8 info to find an information night near them. And we encourage everybody to visit all of our secondary schools. Take Our Kids to Work Day is happening on Wednesday, November the 5th, 2025. And it's a great opportunity for our grade 9 students to explore career pathways and gain real knowledge, real world experience in a workplace setting. And permission forms are available in the student success offices in the secondary schools. And to participate, students can just pick one up and return it by the deadline of November 1st. The Ministry of Education has introduced the Minister's Certificate of Recognition for Community Involvement. So it's for the students who exceed the minimum of 40 hours of community involvement requirement, which makes them eligible to receive a Minister's Certificate of Recognition upon graduation. And the certificate acknowledges their dedication to helping others and their commitment to community service. And you can visit the Ontario government website for any additional details. October 20th to 24th, as the chair mentioned, is Local Government Week. And the week aims to increase youth and public awareness about the important role that local governments play in our communities. OPSPA has created resources for grade 5 to 10 that will help to facilitate learning, and you can visit the opspa.org website for further information. And Media Literacy Week takes place from October 27th to the 31st, and this week encourages Canadians to develop the skills and understanding that's needed to navigate the complexities of today's digital world, from emerging technologies like AI to issues such as misinformation and online hate or bullying. Visit mediasmarts.ca for further information. And then the final slide just shows already some things that are coming up in November. So the OSSLT Fall Opportunity. So remember when it was first introduced, it was only at one day, one time during the school year. Now there's different opportunities to write it, and that will open up on November the 4th. We're still waiting for our EQAO results from the ministry and EQAO for last year, and students are already going to be writing this year. A bit of a delay there. Elementary parent-teacher interviews will take place on November 13th, and schools will be communicating specific times to the families. There is a PD day coming up on November the 14th for both elementary and secondary students. And then secondary parent-teacher interviews will take place on November 19th, and schools will communicate those specific times as well. And then the Legislative Assembly of Ontario sat again yesterday and will continue throughout this week. We were hoping that maybe from yesterday's sitting we would have had some updates for you, but there was nothing that came out. And so as soon as we have those from the ministry, will be communicated to you in our next edition of the Inside Education, and a reminder that Remembrance Day is on Tuesday, November the 11th. Any questions? Happy to take them.
Just a comment. I love the new format. I love the new distribution list, and
hopefully more people will be looking at that. That's great. Are they going to be hot linked and things like that too? Yeah,
Sure are.
perfect.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. That report gave great pleasure. The next item doesn't. So we're moving on to item N1. And I regret that Trustee Leclerc has submitted his resignation, but we're now required to deal with that. So I'm looking for a motion. Trustee Cook, Trustee McCowie, that the board approve the resignation of Trustee Ron Leclerc, effective, it should be today, not September 30th. Should be effective, sorry, it's written here as September 30th.
Actually approving it today.
Yeah.
So that
Right.
it's effective.
The board approve, sorry, I think this wording is that the board approve the resignation effective September 30th.
Madam Chair,
Trustee Burgess?
the September 30th, I think, is when it was submitted. So if you put the word submitted in.
I just don't want to have any confusion as
Yeah.
to the approval date. The approval
Trustee
is
Ron
today.
Leclerc submitted effective September 30th, and it would be correct. And the approval will show by the motion.
The approval is today. Okay. Trustee McKinley?
Just for clarification, my understanding, and perhaps it's wrong, his letter was dated September 15th to be effective for September 30th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
And we're approving it today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So, are there any other questions on the motion? We're approving the resignation effective today. All those in support? Any opposed? Thank you. That's carried.
Point of information or clarification, I guess. Now that we've approved that, is it possible to put a motion on the floor regarding how we go about our next steps since it's on our agenda? Or do we have to wait for a special meeting to discuss that?
You have to wait for a meeting where that's an agenda item. That's not on the agenda for today.
How soon will that meeting be occurring since we're already a month off of when?
Not sure. I have to
Dated
confer
it.
with the director for available dates.
Okay, thank you.
On to N2, which is the rescheduling of the organizational meeting. I did send out an email about this, so could I have a motion, please? Trustee Nelson, Trustee Buckler, are there any questions? I don't think I got any when I sent the email. Trustee Burgess?
I just read the actual memo recently. So on page 19, I just wanted to know, I couldn't understand the word of the intent. In this case, it's been clarified that is the second paragraph of under context. While in compliance with the bylaw, because our bylaw stated a different date or whatever, we were not in compliance with the intent of the Education Act. Well, the Education Act sort of trumps our bylaws, and it's really not the intent. It says specifically, doesn't it?
Those were the words that came to me from the legal counsel.
Okay.
Trustee McKinley?
Yeah, just a question regarding later it says prior to the regularly scheduled board meeting. I've been a trustee for 15 years now, and we've never had a board meeting on the same night as an org meeting. So I'm just wondering why that's different. We were always told only business under extenuating special circumstances. And so this is a change in what our practice has been for all these years.
No, I think this information has been provided to trustees for some time, and it's just that night there's two meetings. The first meeting is the org meeting, the second meeting is the first regular board meeting.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it is a change from our regular practice.
in that we did 2 dates before. Now we're doing it all in 1 date. But I think that went out a long time ago to trustees. Yeah. Okay, did I have a mover and seconder yet? Yes? Okay, thank you. Okay, are there any more questions? All those in support? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to reports from board committees and consideration of any recommended motions. So from our standing committees, first we have the Policy and Bylaw Committee, the report from their October 7th committee meeting with the following recommendations as listed in your agenda. Trustee Buckler?
In dealing with recommendation 1, I have sent a note to trustees requesting a deferral for that so that we can have a workshop and a little bit more learning on it. We realized in the policy meeting that it was a little bit more than my colleagues could undertake. There's a lot to consume there. So we're recommending that it be deferred and that we have a workshop so we all have the opportunity to get on the same page.
Okay, are you
Can
putting
I
that
move?
motion?
Can I move
Yeah.
that rather than moving that? Trustee McCowie is seconding it.
Okay.
Any questions on it?
Okay, I'm chairing the meeting.
Yes, you are.
Sorry. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that item number 1 be deferred until the trustees can hold a workshop on this item, and then it'll be rescheduled onto another agenda. Okay, any questions? Trustee Burgess?
Thanks, Madam Chair. So we're moving deferral, but without a date certain to either the workshop or the agenda that it's going to appear on eventually that it's going to be deferred on. So we just have to wait for, I'm just assuming that we're waiting for a date for the workshop. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the deferral? Obviously, we have to get together with administration to work out a date, and we'll let you know. So all those in support of item number 1 on the recommendations? That's approved. Thank you. Item number 2 is the approval of the policy and regulation on health and safety, workplace violence, and workplace harassment would be approved. Trustee Buckler, Trustee Nelson, are there any questions on this one? All those in support? That's carried. Thank you. Number 3 is that the board approve the policy and regulation performance appraisal Director of Education as amended. Trustee Cook and Trustee Buckler, I would like to put on the floor an amendment to the policy. I did give a heads up on this to the trustees. If you look at page 37 of the agenda package, the performance review process, I'm moving to delete the first sentence. For each review, the chairperson of the board shall convene the director's performance appraisal committee. I'm asking that be deleted because the chair of the board has been removed out of this new policy as the chair of the DPA committee, so there should be no burden placed on the chair of the board to convene the committee. So it's not in sync, so I'm recommending that be deleted. And then and then, as I mentioned, so this all came about from me attending the Policy and Bylaw Committee, where the amendment to remove the chair as the chair of the DPA committee. The rationale being that it's just another standing committee, and like the other standing committees, the committee should select their chair. So going on that logic, I started thinking about it, and I said, well, if that's the logic that the chair of the board doesn't need to be chair of the DPA committee, then I'm also putting forward the amendment that we should delete the performance appraisal committee shall consist of the following trustees: the chair of the board, the vice chair of the board, and then the chairs of the 3 standing committees, and replace that with the DPA committee shall consist of 3 trustees to be elected at the inaugural or annual organizational meeting or at any other time that may be appropriate to the DPA process. The DPA, as I explained to trustees, the DPA committee is a statutory committee, and so the membership should just be handled the same way as we do all other statutory committees. That falls under line with bylaw section 3.5.1b. So I am moving those amendments. So now you can handle the next part.
Are you seconding it, Trustee McKellie? Okay, so it's on the floor now, thank goodness. Okay.
If I could just speak quickly again to kind of explain what's going on, because if you didn't read my memo, then you wouldn't have a clue what I'm talking about. But so at the policy committee meeting, there was an amendment made to what was presented to the committee. There was an amendment that so historically, the chair of the board has always been the chair of the director's performance appraisal. Okay. And a majority of the committee members made an amendment to remove that, and that the chair of the DPA committee will be elected at the first meeting of the committee. I oppose that. I think the chair is the one who works most closely with the director, and I didn't think that was a good idea. But I was the minority vote. So anyway, so then following the logic that was given at the meeting, I thought, well, okay, if the chair doesn't need to be the chair of the committee, then we don't need to have those 5 people being the committee members. It should be, it's treated like any other statutory committee, which was the logic that was provided at the committee meeting. So if we're going to do that, we should go all the way. If it's just another statutory committee, trustees should be able to put their name forward to be a member. From my experience doing the process, I don't think you need any more than 3 committee members. And the other thing is I did do some research, and we're about the only board that had a prescribed formula for the committee membership. It wasn't found to be common, but it was common that the chair or the vice chair of the board usually chairs the director's performance appraisal process for obvious reasons. Those would be the 2 people that are working most closely with the director. So anyway, I lost that vote that the chair should stay as the chair of the committee. So now I'm looking to follow through on that by what I just said, that if you've deleted the chair as the chair of the committee, then it shouldn't be upon, the onus shouldn't be on the chair of the board to convene the director's performance appraisal committee, which is the first sentence under establishing the DPA committee on page 37. It says, for each review, the chairperson of the board shall convene the director's performance appraisal committee. To me, that just doesn't make sense, because the chair has been eliminated from the process. And then the second part to that is, it starts with the second sentence about who shall be members of the committee, and that's where I've put forward the amendment to just any 3 trustees. There you go.
Trustee Burgess.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Or not Madam Chair. Yeah, you are in the role right now. I want to make this really clear. I've got the original agenda and notes from the policy and Governance Committee and our agenda tonight, and I'm comparing notes. And I just want to say that I support the recommendation as written and not the amendment on the floor. And I'll give my reasonings because I think there's some, in my estimation of being present and discussing the amendment and the amendment going through, it's not a follow through. It's not logical to me. It certainly wasn't the sequel that I anticipated. I support for each review that the chairperson of the board shall convene the director's performance appraisal committee. And I support that the chair of the board is ex officio to any committee of the board, but specifically named for the performance appraisal committee, consisting of the chairperson and the vice chairperson. And the reason is because those folks have already been chosen by peers in positions of added responsibility. So it's not the elimination, the automatic default or the de facto chair of the committee being the chair of the board. That's just one little aspect of it. It opens it up to everybody. I would like to say it has not been 100% practice that the chair of the board has been the chair of the DPA committee in the past. It has not been the 100% practice. It has been the usual, but not always. So the reason why I support the chairperson and the vice chairperson of the board, because they are, as the chair just mentioned, close to senior admin. But the chairperson of the Learning and Equity and Wellbeing and the Finance and Facility Services Committee and the chairperson of the Policy and Bylaw also have an opportunity to work a little more closely with administrative liaison on the senior team. And in some committees, like policy, the administrative liaison is the director of education. So they, again, have been chosen by colleagues for positions of added responsibility and have an exposure that's a little closer to senior admin. So I think they're valuable members. They've already been chosen by peers. If you wanted to add an extra member at large, I would consider that. We used to also have committees of the whole be DPA. We have had that in the past. We aren't going to do that now because that would mean different attendance regulations coming into play in making it a committee of the whole. So I wouldn't suggest that. But I do support it the way it is, acknowledging that the chairperson, the vice chairperson, and the chairperson of these standing committees are important to have as our representatives. That executive model, I will say too, was not always in place, but it was put in place specifically by our present chair's recommendation at the time, and I support it. It's an executive model, and it shows that when we choose those positions, that's another ex officio kind of place where you're going to be placed. So if you're chosen as the chair of equity or finance or policy, that you're going to be serving on the DPA. The only amendment I would suggest, if you wanted it to open it up to absolutely everybody, which is fine, would be to add one member at large. But that's it. Thanks.
Point of order.
Go ahead.
With regard to a statement that was just made about opening up to the possibility of a committee of the whole, my point is that that's contrary to the legislation regulation with regard to the director's performance appraisal.
Trustee McCowie for the first time.
Thank you, Trustee Butler. I just wanted to say that I do support the amendments. Personally, I don't think I would support the policy if it had the executive model. It is, as the chair noted with their amendment, that it is just another statutory committee. And if anything, I appreciate the amendments because it gives an opportunity for any trustee to get involved with the process. And it doesn't just default to whoever holds, positions of added authority. The DPA committee, I think it's important for everybody to remember that under the new regulation, this committee is responsible for facilitating the process, but everyone's still a part of that process. You still have ample opportunities to give feedback and engage with the DPA committee. So by no means do I think that you have to have, a leadership role within the board or work very closely with the director to host the DPA committee, because again, you're just facilitating the process, which is further helped by an external facilitator, and I think through OESC. So I am fully supportive of the 2 amendments proposed by Chair Hatfield, and I'd encourage other trustees to support it as well.
Trustee McKinley, then Trustee Chin.
I've spent a fair bit of time thinking about it. I think I can support it. I would, though, like after this year, if this passes, that there be a review of how it went and whether or not we should consider adding a trustee or 2 to the committee a year down after we've seen how that worked. Just like we've experienced it one way this past year, I'll definitely support the amendments, and maybe we can next June kind of take a look and go, how did that work? Do we need more trustees on it? And make that decision before the org would come up. But
Trustee
support
Chin.
it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I support the amendment, and I disagree with having this structural appointment of the chair of the Performance Appraisal Committee, because it is an appraisal committee, and it's appraisal to the performance of the director. And the chair, yes, we elected the chair, but the chair cooperated with the director, and how they performed actually relates to both, relates to director's performance or also relates to the director. So it's kind of they combined together. And after a period of time, when we evaluate, and we still use that chair to be the chair of evaluation, is kind of have a little bit a conflict of interest, because as we will all know, whatever is done by us, whether it's good or not, we know we have risky, and it should have been avoided if one of the chair or directors can realize we can avoid some risk. But unfortunately, they bind together and make decision to avoid such risk to happen. So that is only an example that when we do evaluate the performance, we should try to avoid
Trustee Chin, you can't speak in a public meeting. I'm sorry, you're supposed to be chairing this, but you can't speak in public about any element of the director's performance appraisal. It's confidential, and
okay.
You better stop.
My point is that we should have more trustees to have their saying, and rather than give the power of the chair to do everything. That's my point.
Thank you very much. Did you want to speak again, Trustee Hatfield?
Yes,
and
I do.
Can you please clarify your amendment for Melissa LeBoeuf so that we have this all
She
right?
has them.
She has it correct?
Okay.
Point
Couple
of
things.
information, just for I guess. I heard that only a small group, all trustees, were
I'd like to speak to that.
involved
if I
in this
can.
process, and I want that to
I
be
have the mic.
clear.
Okay. Come on. Okay. I need to respond to remarks by both Trustee McCowie and Trustee Chin. Trustee McCowie was dead on accurate. The committee is just in place to follow the process. They're not there to do the evaluation, the appraisal. They're there to facilitate the process with or without an outside facilitator. It doesn't matter. From my experience, 3 is plenty to do that. You can't, it was suggested that maybe you can take this 5 executive committee and add another one who's independent. Well, you can't do that either, because that gives you a majority of trustees, and that's a formal board meeting, and you can't do that. So that shouldn't even be considered. But I want to commend Trustee McCowie for being absolutely correct. Trustee Chin, I take great offense to suggesting that there's a conflict of interest between the director and the chair in this process. That's just absolutely not acceptable.
Can I respond? Clarification?
On the amendment now, we have it moved and we have it supported. So it's on the amendment. There you go. I thought she was going to do it. All in support? There you go. It's amended. Any opposed? I'm sorry, it passes. I thought everybody saw everybody's hand. It passes.
Okay, thank you. Now we need a motion on the approval of the policy and regulation performance appraisal, Director of Education, as further amended? As amended. Okay. Okay. Question, Trustee McKinley?
No, I was just saying support.
Okay. All those in support of the amended policy? All those in support? Any opposed? On the main motion. We're voting on the main motion. Oh, your question, Trustee Burgess?
Thank you. I only spoke to the amendment, so I have a question on the main motion. Could you read it? Could you read it as amended? Oh, I didn't hear the newly amended motion on the floor, the main motion.
All those in support of the main motion as amended?
Excuse me.
We already did that, but then we had a question from Trustee Burgess. I just want to confirm that we voted. Yes. Sure. Trustee McCowie?
Sorry, in Appendix A and Appendix B, it says by August 15th, the chair of the board would provide written notice to the Minister of Education. Is it the reg that requires the chair of the board to do that? Or was it because our chair of the board was the chair of the committee?
I think it's
The reg? Okay.
What's the reg? It's the chair of the board, right? Yeah. Correct. It's the chair of the board who has to sign off on it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so just to be clear, we voted on the main motion as amended tonight. Okay, moving on to number 4. Would anyone like to move 4, 5, and 6?
Excuse me, I have a question.
A question on what item?
Yeah, clarification. Page 39 and item 4C and last sentence, areas of focus and questions will vary by stakeholder. I don't quite understand this sentence.
Right. Trustee Chin, we've already voted on the policy. If you have a question about the policy, you could send that in to the director, okay? Thank you. Would anyone like to move 4, 5, and 6? Trustee Buckler, Trustee McCowie.
I'd like them separated, please.
Okay, we're going to separate. So number 4, on electronic meeting and meeting attendance, that's based on the regulation. Are there any questions? No? All in support? Any opposed? That's carried. On the rescinding the policy and regulation, recruiting and hiring of supervisory officers. All those in support? They've all been moved and seconded. We're just separating them for voting.
I have a question.
Okay, Trustee McKinley, you have a question?
Thank you. That's why I wanted them separated. Regarding the recruiting and hiring of supervisory officers, I'm not ready to rescind this quite yet. I have some thoughts. I would like to see it revised, but I'm not sure if I'll have the support. So I'll throw out the suggestions and see what comes of them. What I would suggest rather than rescinding would be to have the, on the wrong policy here. Huh? Just trying to find it. 53. Oh, I went too far. Geez, sorry about that. Okay. So where on 55, on page 55, where it says number 1, the Director of Education shall appoint an interview committee, I would like to suggest an amendment that it would instead, and this would be instead of rescinding, so that the Director of Education shall appoint an interview committee to conduct the interviews. The committee will include the Director, 2 supervisory officers, and 3 trustees of the Director's choosing. That would be
Trustee
one.
McKinley, that's
Yes.
illegal. That's why this is being rescinded.
It's illegal.
Trustees can't sit on the selection process for supervisory officers. That's in the covering memo.
Is that where is that in the Ed Act? Did I miss that then?
Yep, it's in the
It's in the covering.
it's in a couple different places. It's in Bill 177. It's
I know,
in the
for
Minister
years
of
it's been-
Education. This is all in the memo. In the Minister of Education's operational review follow-up report of May 2011.
Okay.
And a couple of other things. So that's why it's here. Yeah. Trustee Cook?
I just want to say that, like, I don't understand why trustees want to be involved in stuff we shouldn't be involved in. It's not our job to hire superintendents. That's why we hire our director, who we trust, to hire her staff. Like, if you're looking for something else to do during the day, volunteer or something, let the director do her job. And this is why the Minister of Education is looking at school boards, because everybody wants to get involved in stuff you're not supposed to be involved in. Let's move on.
Thank you. So are there any other questions on rescinding of the recruiting and hiring of supervisory officers? Trustee McCowie?
Just a question for clarification. In the memo, it says an operational procedure detailing the selection process for SOs will be developed and posted on the board's website. Usually operational procedures aren't posted, are they?
That's, so that would be internal information, not public. And that was part of number 1 that's been deferred. Okay? Does that help? Okay. So on number 5, all those in support? Any opposed? That's carried. Number 6, that the board rescind the policy and regulation joint employee assistance program. That had a covering memo as well. All those in support? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much. There is a report from the Finance and Facility Services Committee, but there were no recommendations coming out of that. The Learning, Equity, and Wellbeing Committee, there is a report attached in your package, but there's no recommendations. Statutory Committee, a report from the Audit Committee is attached. No recommendations. SEAC, there is a report attached that consists of approved minutes for information to the trustees. Our GECPIC, there's no report. No, we have no advisory committees at this time. We also have no ad hoc trustee committees at this time. So now we're on to item P, reports. Sorry, Trustee Burgess.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I see an inconsistency in the reporting, the report format. And I'm wondering what our expectations are. I actually like to see in a report who was present for when the meeting took place, and not in a narrative form, but in a way that I can actually see what was moved, if it was approved, if it was defeated, that kind of thing. So I noticed that in our Policy and Bylaw Committee meeting, there's no attendance, and the facility and Finance and Facility Services Committee, there isn't an attendance who wasn't there, that kind of thing. In other words, what how many people were there making the decision and recommending it as a committee, I think makes a difference when I receive a report saying, oh, well, that's good, but there are only 2 people there. So then I can ask who was there, that kind of thing. So I see an inconsistency between our reports of our standing committees. And I'm wondering if there's any attempt of, did anybody else feel like I did, that something was missing, like attendance? And it's not minutes. It's a report. We used to get minutes.
So there are minutes attached. So Trustee
There are
McKinley?
minutes for
I was just going to
policy?
note the very next page, 64, is the minutes of the meeting.
So you get a covering memo
And
about,
the details.
you get a covering memo particularly when there are recommendations, but then you also get the minutes. The minutes do indicate the attendance.
You know what? I've missed it completely. There's minutes for the policy? I don't see, I'm asking for consistency in minutes and consistency in the report. We're receiving a report. Receiving a report doesn't necessarily have action coming from it. And if you want to put something on the floor, you'd have to put it in context of the report received. Minutes usually are draft.
Right, so
are
when-
draft minutes of something that's going to be approved at a
They haven't been
subsequent
approved
meeting.
yet, which is why they wouldn't be
They're
included.
draft
So you
meeting.
would get them.
But we could get them as draft, unapproved. But yeah,
I don't think
understand
we
what you're
put
saying.
draft minutes out to the public.
I think that's correct.
So I don't know how we can help you.
Well, in the report, then, if we
But-
could capture something that would be captured in a draft minute that
Well, we
would be
can-
unequivocal, like attendance and
So that can be
recommendations that
suggested to
arise.
the, if you'd like to send an email to the chairs of those committees and suggest that they include that in their cover memos, that would help. No, it's just a suggestion. Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be helpful. Okay, forgot where I am. Okay, we're at P1, the OPSPA report. That would be from Trustee McCowie.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. The Ontario Public School Boards Association met for our September Board of Directors meeting a few weeks ago, and there's been a lot of exciting work going on. There continues to be discussion surrounding Bill 33 and its implications. MPPs have returned to Queen's Park yesterday, and Bill 33 currently sits at second reading. During the first day of the fall session yesterday, Bill 57, Respect for Taxpayers Act, was introduced. If passed, the minister is seeking to vacate a seat of an elected trustee in Haldimand County and bar them from running in future elections. OPSPA has indicated it will be seeking a meeting with the Ministry of Education to understand the implications of this legislation, and it's currently being framed in the media as a test case of sorts. OPSPA has taken a principled approach in sending messaging reinforcing the importance of locally elected democracy and the role of trustees in response to comments made by the minister concerning the potential elimination of the role. And for the third report of the day, it is Local Government Week, so it's really important to stress the importance of locally elected democracy and the voice that trustees carry for the community at large. OPSPA has identified both Bill 33 and broader discussions concerning school board governance as current areas of priority and will continue to monitor developments and engage with the province as needed. Trustees can expect further communication from OPSPA's daily communications as the legislative process continues, including information related to the forthcoming regulatory posting concerning the School Resource Officer Program. At the September 26-27 OPSPA Board of Directors meeting, members discussed long-term sustainability in light of changing governance dynamics across the province. There was an initial conversation regarding a potential review of OPSPA's own governance model, with the goal of ensuring continued relevance, accessibility, and regional engagement. No decisions are made, and all trustees from all member boards will have an opportunity to provide input at the upcoming regional council meetings. For trustees in our area, the OPSPA Western Region meeting will take place on Saturday, November 1st. It'll be a hybrid format, and all trustees and student trustees are invited to attend. Additionally, OPSPA is currently seeking submissions for the annual 2026 Public Education Symposium, which will take place January's 23rd and 4th in Toronto. This year's theme is What Matters Most, Supporting Ontario Students, with a focus on initiatives that advance student achievement, well-being, Indigenous education, and special education. Proposals are due this Friday for anyone that's interested. Thank you, and if there's any questions, feel free to let me know.
Burgess?
Oh, I don't want it to sound facetious. How likely is it that we will have a PEZ? I'm honestly being sincere because it takes a lot to put a proposal together, etc. And when we're getting mixed messages, like from the ministry, it takes a lot of money and commitments to attendance, etc. And it has to be done ahead of time. That seems to me that a virtual event would be better.
To that, I think that's a valid concern. I have the same concern. And I don't know if trustees are aware, but OPSPA has been hit with a 25% decrease in their funding because the ministry has withdrawn membership fees from the boards that are under supervision. And that's a big concern to OPSPA moving forward with such a drastically reduced budget. So I think that's a valid question. I just don't think anybody has the answer right now. Yes.
Also on that, the implications, I think, are also to the Ontario Education Services Corporation, as OPSPA was a member of that. So reduced vitality of OPSPA really sabotages the staffing, I guess, maybe, or the scope of work, et cetera, at the OESC, which facilitates things like the director's performance appraisal insertion, all those other things. So I don't mean to, I'm not being facetious. I'm actually, I'm concerned. We don't have any professional development money, so it would only be somebody who could fund it out of their own pocket, et cetera, that attended. But I just think, I wonder if we need to direct our director here to say, can we have a hybrid model or something of PEZ so that, we can attend like we did during the pandemic?
I have every faith that OPSPA is looking at all of that. Okay. Would you agree? Trustee McCowie, would you agree?
Yes, I would, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So I would just like to add a comment to your report, and that is that I really appreciate all the correspondence that's been coming to trustees from OPSPA, especially with regard to their emerging issues bulletins. They've been coming out almost every couple of days, and it's really very important that trustees read that correspondence so that you know the challenges that we're facing and what OPSPA is doing about it. So I really appreciate those communications, and trustees really should take the time to read them. They're very important. Okay. So there's nothing under Q, R, we're down to S, and I have a heads up from Trustee Armstrong. Did you have a question?
Oh, yes. You mentioned about the OPSPA sending us emails, and I have an issue that many of the links that they sent to me, I couldn't read. Probably because I clicked that before for certain times, so they block that without paying fees. I wonder
I think you're talking about the media reports. And
the media. I wonder if you can, ask the OPSPA to have a policy regarding that, cause there is really frustrating. If I read their links, I couldn't open that.
Yeah. I think we've addressed this previously, and
it never addressed to me because I did click that before.
I answered your email on that, and I said that you should contact OPSPA and they can send you the article.
Yeah, no, OPSPA didn't. OPSPA just said that there is two ways. One is to Google that, another is to pay by myself. So I'm just asking, it's because it's fulfilling our task. So I'm just asking if you can clarify the policy. It's not good for the trustee cannot read the articles that OPSPA sent.
Trustee McCowie?
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. OPSPA does send out a daily media report to all trustees. If anyone ever has issues accessing any of those articles, feel free to just send me an email. I'd be more than happy to help you get access to them. And I think I've expressed that to you in the past, Trustee Cheen. But those emails are just a collection of different news stories across the province concerning public education, and they're put together by OPSPA's comms team and sent out to all trustees. But again, if there's ever one that you're having issues getting past a paywall or anything like that, shoot me an email and I'd be happy to help out.
Oh,
So Trustee McCauley is offering to help send you the article if you can't open it. And OPSPA has also offered
sorry,
to get it for you as well.
It's too much hurdle to do that, and it's a lot of links, and I feel it's not good to ask another trustee to look for me each time. I just think it's not really, big money, but why we save this to hurt trustees' representation, to fulfill their jobs. I just don't think it makes sense. And I do think the director, as a professional, need to give advice on how to control this kind of
I think you're getting
cost.
out of line here with your remarks against OPSPA, against the director, against
No,
the
no, no, not
trustees.
against
So
that. I
stop.
just
So,
feel it's
Trustee
not
Chin,
reasonable. Okay.
please stop. OPSPA doesn't fund any kind of media subscriptions for trustees. They're not going to do that. If you have a problem opening up a link to a media article that they've provided to you, you can either go to our director, who is Trustee McCauley. He will gladly send you the article so that you can read it, or you can contact OPSPA and they will send you that article. But that same article appears in many media sources. So if you can't open the Toronto Star, try the Windsor Star, try the Globe and Mail, try Googling, and it'll come up from another media source. It's not limited to one media outlet.
Thank you for the suggestion. My question.
But stop
my question.
Stop making offensive
No,
remarks.
no, not offensive.
No, we're done. We're done this discussion.
No, Windsor Star. Is that reasonable for trustee in Windsor?
Okay. This is not even an agenda item. It wasn't raised in Trustee McCauley's report. It's totally out of order. So we're moving on to announcements. Trustee Armstrong, you already gave me a heads up that you have an announcement for tonight.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. I would like to start with a compliment to the Chair. I want to thank you for your direction during a meeting in June when you stated that points of order may have been used incorrectly in the past to stop speech, rather than being a true point of order under Robert's rules. So I thank you for working to change this. Before I make my announcement, I need to speak to a misunderstanding that occurred on June 30th that is pertinent to my announcement. Trustee Chin stated that trustees have resorted to using the media to speak and have their voices heard when they were not permitted to speak and debate during meetings. She is correct. This is exactly the reason I made the podcast. My voice, which was the voice of the Kingsville community, the
Trustee
students,
Armstrong, I
parents.
don't think this falls under the category of an announcement.
It is an announcement. I need this information to be heard because it is pertinent to my announcement.
An announcement should be telling us about some event that's coming up. Telling us
I have
about
a
school
request.
Visit.
My announcement is a request.
That's not appropriate.
Yes, could you please let me finish?
I don't think I can. I'm sorry. But this doesn't come
All
under...
right, then the request will be made through social media since you're silencing me again.
No, Trustee Armstrong, you have to follow protocol. If you have something that you'd like to bring to our attention, send me an email and let me know what it is. And then we can go from there to deal with it appropriately. But this is taking announcements out of context. You can challenge the chair's ruling, but that's my ruling.
I have an announcement to our listeners,
No,
to the
that's
community.
No, I don't think dealing with a code of conduct situation is not an appropriate announcement. Okay, we do have something to refer to with regard to announcements, and Ms. LeBoeuf's going to provide that.
So we do have a definition in our bylaws around what an announcement is. It is an opportunity for trustees to highlight the good work of the staff, students, and parents of the GECDSB by publicly announcing special initiatives and events of the GECDSB and its partners.
So I'm ruling that it's out of line to announce to what our definition of announcement is. You have the option of challenging my ruling.
Well, my announcement was not to the good work. It had a question about the work.
Sorry. It doesn't fall under our definition of announcements.
Then I will find another way. Thank you.
Sure. Announcements, Trustee McKinley.
Yes, I have a couple, but I'll try to make them quickly. First off, next month, November 1st, starts the 23rd annual Cereal Box Challenges. I can hardly believe it's been 23 years. But Southwood, Central, Talbot Trail, McWilliam, Bellwood, and Glenwood schools have mostly participated in them for, well, probably at least 15 to 20 of those years, as it started at Oakwood for the first couple. I'm excited to see that start. It makes a huge difference to our students and especially our breakfast and snack programs. The cereal that those 6 schools bring in helps feed over 30 schools and some community organizations. So that's the one announcement. The fun part was today. I got to spend a couple hours at Marlborough School because it was local government week, and I was invited to speak to the grade 5s and hear their questions. And they have a few. One was about air conditioning at Marlborough. And I said, I understand the pain. I have already shared with the people that I need to share it with. But I certainly said, I do think of them on hot days because I too sat at Marlborough on some very hot days. So they had a couple of other things I can bring up later. But suffice it to say, it was a great day at Marlborough listening to their questions and sharing about my life as a trustee. And one question they asked was how old I was. So I told them the truth, and then they were all aghast. And then a couple of them said, you don't look that old. So that made my day if it wasn't already good enough. So I will end my announcement on a positive note.
Yep. I know that other trustees are participating as well. Other announcements, Student Trustee Foster?
I'd just like to recognize all of our student senators. They've already come in. They've shown lots of enthusiasm into our year. They've helped us ease in. They've given us no trouble communicating with us well. So I'd just like to thank them publicly for making it an easy job for us. Thank you.
So sorry, it's part of my annual announcement, but I am hoping that to challenge the director and the board office in doing likewise or similar like last year. That's all. Thank you.
We've reached the end of our approved agenda. I'd like to thank everybody for their time this evening, and I will declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you.